Hello, intersection of bookworms and Taylor Swift fans. I don't know how to start a video without saying hello, bookworms. So I'm here today. I'm Kristin, and then to meet our other participants.
Macky.
Hello.
Alexa.
We are going to be doing a year-long project, which is like a deep dive into Taylor Swift. And basically it came about because Alexa and I were both talking a lot about Taylor Swift, and we were texting a lot when we were doing our bullet journals. And we just had this idea to kind of do like a huge deep dive into Taylor Swift, into every single one of her albums, into all of the different eras, the different fashion during that time, what was going on in her personal life, her professional life, any, vault tracks, anything like that. And we thought that it would be fun to do an online project. So once a month, we're going to be deep diving into one of Taylor's albums, and the show is going to be our introduction.
Yeah, so I love talking Taylor Swift.
As do I.
Fun thing is I'm definitely a newer fan, and Macky and Alexa are like original fans. They've been loving Taylor since the beginning. So I think it'll be fun to just hear from like different perspectives and to go on this journey together.
I think so too. There's so much of it too. Like how long it's been, many things have happened.
Seriously.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
So just to get you guys like familiar, we're going to go over a couple of questions that we prepared so that we can give you an idea of like our fandom level experiences that we've had and our current like favorite songs and stuff. So Alexa, if you want to start, how did you get into the fandom and what would you say is your level of knowledge?
It's so funny. I was really reflecting on this when we first came up with the questions, and I honestly cannot remember the exact moment that got me into the fandom. I'm pretty sure, like, if I were going to guess, it's probably like a combination of the frequency with which I saw some of her videos back in the day, combined with the fact that her music was always playing on the radio. This is back when I still lived in the Philippines too. So it's like we have our own version of MTV. It's called Mix, and it's basically like hosted by Filipino, VJs, and like
a friend
includes
of mine
a lot,
once,
includes a lot of like Filipino music, but it also includes a lot of international stuff. And I swear to you, there was this one time, like every single day they would do like a top 10 countdown, and every single day it was Love Story.
I can see that.
I feel like, I'm very susceptible to like earworms. Earworms, and like you repeat something in front of me enough times and I find it interesting enough, it'll just stay. So I'm pretty sure that's where my fandom, because I'm pretty sure I can pinpoint it was like 2008, 2009. That's around the time when I started getting into Taylor Swift. In terms of like how much I know about Taylor Swift, I think I'm mostly well versed with the music part of her life. Like that is the part I think I just choose to focus on specifically because that's the part that I guess means the most to me. I'm also generally knowledgeable about like the fashion she was into almost every era, maybe except for like the earlier ones, but everything that came after Fearless, pretty well versed in that. And then obviously I kind of know all the relationship stuff and all of the big career drama that I'm also kind of aware of, not in detail. Some of them I know better than others just because I was more invested in those things, but I think I'm like generally well versed, I'm going to say. Not quite as much as my cousin. I think my cousin probably has like the deets, like she's one of those people that knows stuff.
Her knowledge comes from the streets.
It's very impressive. If I need to know something or verify something, I'm usually like, is this true? And then she'll let me know within like an hour. She's like, that's verified, not true, or that's true. I'm just like, great, okay. But I think I'm fairly well versed. I've just been in it so long that I just don't know what life is like without it, if that makes sense.
It does.
It's crazy, honestly.
And how about you, Macky?
So, got into Taylor Swift because of her. Although Taylor Swift was in my orbit, even up to like even the first, I just latent memories of I would visit family friends in California, just like growing up, And at one point in time, one of my friends, Ace, if you remember,
Oh yeah,
was
yeah.
like, I like Taylor Swift. He mostly gravitates towards like the country days.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm just like, Taylor Swift, and then he shows me like a Taylor Swift album with like the hair, and that's why I remember that I remember standing
cover,
in like a record store, and like Taylor was there, and I was like, all right, cool, Taylor Swift, that's fine. A few years later, I meet Alexa, and she's like, you should listen to her, and I did, and that was pretty much that. It was pretty much all downhill from there, and from there I developed sort of my own fandom independent of Alexa's, which is that's the weird thing about our fandoms. It's we both love them, but we're not occupying the same spaces all the time, which makes for great conversation, and it definitely works. So yeah, and so that was the Fearless era.
Yes, same era.
Right before she dropped Speak Now. So that was my timestamp of when I thought, okay, this girl is awesome. And then Speak Now drops, and I'm just like, I'm a fan independent from you now. So that was my origin story of how I love Taylor.
Origin story. I love it.
That's so nice.
Right. I know you said you were newer to the fandom.
Yes, definitely. So I've always obviously been like aware of Taylor Swift. I feel like it's pretty hard to be a person, like especially in the United States, and not know who she is. So I've definitely like known about her for a long time, and I've liked a lot of her songs like from when I was younger, but I wouldn't say that I was part of the fandom until Midnights came out, because that's like really when I was like, I was thinking about how I was telling Macky before, but like Andrew and I have a lot of like very niche interests. And obviously Taylor Swift is very popular. And I always think it's like just interesting to be able to keep up with pop culture conversations. So when Midnights was coming out, I was like, all right, I'm going to obviously listen to this. And then I ended up just absolutely loving it. And from there, like I just started like watching a lot of videos about her online and learning more about like her life and her career and her journey. And it's kind of fun to like go back and see all of the songs that I actually did know without really having remembered. So I just like fell in this like deep spiral, and like I never want to leave it. I love it here.
Yes, you're officially going to be stuck in it now.
You're just here now.
And similarly to you, I have a cousin that has been obsessed with Taylor Swift since her debut, and like has been to so many of her shows, and she would always introduce me to stuff with her, but I just never like, when I was younger, I really didn't like country music. And I think that's probably why I initially wasn't like as obsessed with her as everyone else. I was more of like a rock kind of girl, like indie rock. But I definitely like pop. So I think that's really like where I came in.
Same. I'm not a country girl. So I understand. It's before I got into it. Fearless was the start of it because it was like country pop.
Yeah.
So I get that. Like same energy, really.
So as far as knowledge level goes, I think I would say that I'm like medium low, because even though I am newer, I have like consumed a lot. And just from like talking to other people, it seems like I know a lot more about her than the average person.
Oh, yes, you do. I can confirm.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, actually.
How she caught up so quickly.
No, I agreed. It's like I had thought you were a fan for years based on like the knowledge that you've been. But yeah, it's on.
Thank you. That's exciting. But yeah, so like there are definite gaps. Like there are like albums that I have not listened to in their entirety. My plan was like to do it this year, so I'm like really looking forward to it.
Oh my god, I'm so excited.
But yeah, so that's why I'm going to say, even though like I haven't listened to certain things, I would still say medium low, because I feel like I know some stuff.
You do.
We're going to turn that to high and intense, like as 2024 comes in. Glorious.
Oh, it really will be, to be honest.
My family would agree with you because they know nothing about Taylor Swift, and now they know a lot because I talk about her all the time.
That's where it starts. You start talking about her, random conversations, just because you have to.
Listen, in terms of like marrying into families bingo, or the lottery, I won so hard. This family waits at midnight for the album drop and listens through all of it.
I have
as
that on my list.
so I'm just like, how, and I'm looking around, I'm going, how did I marry into the
It's so
right
interesting
clan?
too, because we, well, backstory with my family, like we don't have a lot of fandoms in common. I'd say like some of us have like crossovers. There'd be like two of us maybe that like the same thing, or three of us that like the same thing, but it's never at the same intensity and at the same time. Taylor Swift is like the one consistent one.
Yeah.
It's been like years, and we're all on the same level about it. Like we're still here.
Agreed. So
Mackie knows, he's seen it in action.
but all of that in due time.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Um,
Boy.
So we kind of touched on it a little bit, but what's the first song that you really liked or remember hearing?
Oh, well, mine I already kind of said. It's Love Story. Like I vividly recall this. I was traveling in 2009. I was with my college roommates and we were in Hong Kong. That was like our friend trip before we all graduated and went our separate ways. And even there I was being haunted by Love Story. I was literally in like random McDonald's and like there would be Love Story on the TV just playing. I'd be walking into like a store and I would hear it and I'm like, it's everywhere. And of course, like Love Story, and the thing is, I already liked Love Story just because of the concept of it, right? It's her take on Romeo and Juliet, kind of, except that it ends differently, obviously. And of course, that means I'm a sucker for that because Romeo and Juliet mean something to me specifically as the first like Shakespeare play that I ever had any experience with, right? So of course I was like, oh, I really like this song. But after like hearing it all the time, I was like, oh, I love this song. Thank God I didn't get sick of it. It's the best like result of this.
I'm still not sick of it, honestly.
Sorry, we'll get to that in a second too. But sorry. What was yours?
Oh,
because you said your era was like End Fearless, start of
right.
Speak Now.
So the one song that cemented my eternal love for Taylor Swift, and this is one of those, tell me what your personality is without telling me what your personality is You Belong With Me.
Oh, I knew it.
Love it.
So once 300 years ago, I was 16, and my entire personality was quite in love. I mean, I'm so glad that person is dead and buried, but I am. There's enough remnants of that ghost, rattling around this. And at one point, that song was everything. I'm like, how is my entire childhood summarized in one song? And I thought, okay, I'm gonna love this person forever now. That's just how this works. And it hasn't changed since then. I have many thoughts. That was actually the condensed professional version, but deep inside, there's a lot of yelling and screaming and vibrating at a frequency.
But it's so interesting that you mentioned like your Taylor Swift song or your favorite Taylor Swift songs say a lot about your personality.
Oh, we're gonna get to my favorite Taylor Swift song.
It's so
eventually.
like just saying You Belong. Saying Love Story is already like like for anyone who knows, it's like Kristin knows both of us, so she's probably like, yeah, that tracks. That makes
it does.
Listen, your Taylor Swift song or era is basically the new horoscope these days. Like I swear to God. Like if you can think about, if you can
new zodiac sign. It's like
you can literally like classify or like just personality types according to Taylor Swift eras and songs. Yeah, so true. I'm just saying.
Now I'm curious what Kristin's is.
Right. What is yours?
Because I know like what she started with, but which song it was is the part that I'm curious about.
So for me, it is also Love Story. I feel like that was just on all the time. Like I vividly remember like being young and my mom would be driving my friends and I, and it would be on like Z100 in the car. And honestly, like something that is like so like a little bit embarrassing, but when I listen to Love Story, like I still cry like at the ending because it's just so happy. Like it just makes me like so happy. And anytime that it comes on at a wedding, I'm like, oh no, like don't cry.
No, that's the perfect reaction, to be honest.
So interesting fact, I didn't like Love Story until Alexa started singing it. Because I just thought Love Story, I mean, and it wasn't like I hated it. It was fine. But when she started singing it and I had to coach her through it, I'm like, this is really nice. It just starts in the end. It's like, like it's just like that's the kind of level of joy where it's so beautiful, and it's not Romeo and Juliet. It's actually it was the Romeo and Juliet bit that threw me off. I'm like, ugh, I hate Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, because you don't like Most people don't. Like, and especially if you think about Romeo and Juliet as a romance, most people don't like
Well,
Romeo,
see, that's
which
exactly
is understandable because I don't think it's a great romance either. I like it because it's tragic.
And it was labeled after, so it is a tragedy, not a comedy. So that makes sense. It's just, so that threw me off. But then the ending comes in and Taylor
And
does
you're just
that
like,
little, she talked to her.
Yeah.
She talked to her.
Go pick out my dress.
I feel like it's also like one of the earliest kind of displays of like what a great storyteller she is.
Yes, absolutely agreed.
That is my other Roman Empire, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to that album. I have thoughts. I have lots of thoughts.
So, moving on, what was the album era that you started with?
Oh, well, clearly it was Fearless for me. And I'm like, it's funny because no matter how many eras have come after it, it always stays in my top, I want to say top 3 eras, just because like it always means, I'm always like, maybe I'm overestimating how much I love the Fearless era, like how much I love these songs and how much I love the singles and everything about. And then I'll listen to the whole album again and I'm like, no, I'm not overestimating it. I actually really do love it. I think for me, it's so viscerally tied to who I was at that time. Mm-hmm. So it'll always mean something to me in that sense, just because I'm so sentimental about that stuff. So I'm like, this is basically who I was in that era, which is like 2008, 2009, that around that time. So Fearless and all the songs on it, every time I listen, I'm like triggered into thinking something and I'm like, or feeling something. And I'm like, that's why like I will never be able to erase it from my system. Like this is just how that works. I have a guess because I think you already said it,
so
right?
Clear.
Yeah.
Oh, is it my turn? Like, because I'm restraining myself from talking for 7
He's actually visibly
for like 7.5 minutes. Just have to like grip the table and go, do not say anything more than 2 minutes.
When we actually talk about
we
that
will.
album.
So mine will have to be Speak Now.
I
Speak Now is the album that really, because it's one thing to like a couple of songs from an album, I feel, and as a former music purist, I'm so glad that persona is also dead and long buried. But as a former purist, like there's remnants of, I mean, is it like you want to take an album as a whole? Like it's not just neatly. It's a lot of singles and it's a lot of like nice little tracks, an EP if you're lucky. But there's something about a coherent entire album, and I did not feel that kind of connection to Fearless the way I did for Speak Now. And Speak Now holds a special position for in the Taylor Swift like pantheon of albums in my head because she's always reactionary. She's always reactionary in that this was the album where she wanted to prove that she could write by herself. We froze. Oh.
Did we? Can you hear us though?
Can you hear us though?
Oh, okay. Back. Sorry, I missed what you said there. I think my computer, I don't know, my internet must have frozen or something.
Speak Now for me solidified everything because I had a friend who was just like, but Taylor Swift writes with a lot of other writers, which is ridiculous because when somebody gets famous, I don't know too many people who got famous where people are like, well, she has co-writers. The amount, so in my head, I'm like, all right, that's a weird flex because
it
whatever.
Is,
so Taylor, in response to all of this, right, she can't sing, blah blah blah. Writes arguably one of the hardest vocally challenging albums of her entire career.
Yes.
Seriously, try singing some of her newer stuff, which she writes in her lower register these days, versus everything in Speak Now. It's so insane. Hard. So for her to come out swinging both as a lyricist and it's not a lyricist, a full-on songwriter, and to write arguably my most favorite song of all time ever in a million years. It is Speak Now through and through. Picture this: 2011, Taylor Swift visits Metro Manila. My sister's in
there's a whole backstory to this. We'll get to it in Speak Now, but there's a whole backstory.
And I watch her live, dude. She stage dives off of to end the show. She just dives off the stage after singing Long Live, and I'm like, I knew I would love you forever, but now I will love you for longer than that. Is basically. And at first I thought it was weird chaperoning like these two kids are not kids anymore. Obviously one of them knows.
It's so funny because
literally one of them is in the other room right now. That's how long this friendship has been.
Yeah.
And I thought, is it weird?
The other one is the cousin.
And the other one is the cousin who knows the streets. And so I'm with these two little children at the time. They're 13. They have literally T Swift 13 on their knuckles.
And everything.
Because that's what children do at Taylor Swift concerts.
So
and I thought, is this weird that I'm chaperoning these two children?
I like
and some dad is like 3 seats away, just like with the little digital camera recording everything. And I'm like, all right, I'm in good company. I'm fine. This is okay. I actually like Taylor. So speak now, forever in that sense.
I knew. What about you, Kristin?
So the era that I started with was 1989. That's the first one that I remember like buying digitally on like Apple Music and listening to in my car. And then also forcing Andrew to listen to.
Sure, yeah.
And I also really loved that the Blank Space music video was filmed at Oheka Castle, which is on Long Island.
Oh, we should make a field trip.
We should.
Yeah. And then just like going into the next question, which I feel like you guys kind of answered too, but the album era that you identify with most now, I think like for me, I would still say 1989, but Taylor's version, it's definitely
sense.
Yeah, it's like one of the ones that I've been listening to the most. I really love the like casual beachy aesthetic. And I just feel like the vault tracks are like so good.
So good.
It's so funny because actually the aesthetic is something I would see for Kristin, like from the new one, like 1989 Taylor's specifically. Like there's just something about it that like reminds me of Kristin.
I mean, it's red lipstick on a beach.
And it's like it's the beach thing. It's like the coastal, it's like cozy but coastal, if that makes sense. It's like vibe. And then there's like a tiny bit of city in it.
It's literally post-red, start red. Yeah. You know, I love that. I love it. It's perfect for you, actually, Kristin.
Well, you answer first, not last.
Yeah, I feel like it captures my two vibes.
Oh no, wait. I know what yours is. Never mind. I know.
So my album is to this day it's Midnights. 100%. When Midnights came out, I'm like, this is my home now. I live here. I love all the other albums. You know, the same way that I used to. It's just this is where I live. Like this is who I am. This is what has become of all the dead, selves and versions, and this house that.
Even the aesthetic of that one kind of also gives me, because it's like darker colors, comfortable fabrics. Like that's her thing.
When we do Midnights, I'm doing my nails for that particular stream. That's how that's gonna work.
It's interesting too, because one of the things Macky and I often talk about is that right now she has albums that are like sisters or twins to each other. Like the easiest is obviously Folklore and Evermore, right? Those are definitely like related to each other. It's funny because the album I identify her the most now is the twins. It's Lover. I'm surprised no one knows, because from the minute I first heard Lover, like the whole album, like this is my era now. I live here now too.
I mean, have we seen Alexa's blog? It's basically Lover.
Yeah, actually, it's like Lover spat all over it.
No, but it's
not even just aesthetic. I think it's also just the range of the songs in it too, because for me, like a lot of the songs, even the ones that everyone else was kind of like, that was a good song, but like it doesn't leave a remarkable, I guess, thing on anyone else. Like I'd be like, no, that's a really good song. Do you hear what she did in this? Like it was one of the first times where I was like, every single lyric, I'm like, no, you have to listen to it. Do you hear this music? Do you hear what she's saying? It was. I was still very upset, by the way, because Loverfest got canceled and it was supposed to be my birthday thing for that year. Still so sad about that, because like having an entire Lover experience would have been so good. I could still see it in my mind.
Nice if she still like does at some point go back and have like a Lover concert, an Evermore concert, a Folklore concert.
Oh, we'll show up for that.
You know what? She could just do an entire festival. It would be fine.
Yeah.
Like I would be happy. I would attend it.
I actually tried to go Lover themed for our background.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought you were looking for, actually. It's funny because what I'm wearing does not indicate in any form or fashion.
Well, you've got like the eras thing going on for you, I think.
No, I think that totally makes sense for you. You definitely are that aesthetic.
I think so too. I will say the other thing too about like album eras that you identify with, it honestly for me sometimes it just depends on like the weather or the mood that because like right now, for example, if you asked me like right now today specifically, I would be like, no, this is a Folklore day, because it's like it's dreary outside, it's dark, and I'm like, it's a Folklore day, right? And Evermore would have been the choice if it were sunnier, because then I would have been like, it's cold but I'm still cozy. It's like a weird thing, because like 1989 for me is a summer album.
Yes,
Rep is like a fall album, so it's like weird trying to pick a favorite era. It's like trying to pick a favorite child. I refuse to do it sometimes.
I totally agree. I feel like the era that I'm most into changes like day to day, and also changes like just based on my mood. Like I had some very Reputation days in late December. It really just depends.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, we're gonna get to my favorite question for today.
Yes. So now we're going to talk about some of our favorite tracks. We're going to say one per album. So starting off with the debut.
Okay, I can go first, but like this is really hard for me because there are two songs that I really, really love on that album. And just based on my current mood, the one I would have picked, I actually won't pick today
Oh,
because
wow.
the I really like is called "Tied Together with a Smile." That's the second. That's my second.
Yeah.
Normally, it's my second. There's another song that's usually number one, but like in the mood I am currently in, "Tied Together with a Smile" is just it's so good. It was one of those songs where I'm like, I listened to it the first time and then I had to listen to it again because the metaphors in that song so good. They just so accurately express a feeling that I can't. So "Tied Together with a Smile" is the one I would pick for that album.
I also have Tied Together
I
with
knew
a
it.
Oh,
Smile.
that's so nice.
Your number two was my number one, my real number one.
Yes, it is 100% number two. Because here's the thing. There is a SoundCloud upload of mine somewhere floating on the internet of me singing "Tied Together with a Smile." That's how deep
Ooh.
fandom goes.
I can't
Because
wait
in
to
my
talk about
head, I mean, feel free to Google. That's free now. That anybody can just search for it. But the thing about "Tied Together with a Smile" for me is I don't know. I like singing. There's a culture in the Philippines called this surrounds that is anchored on singing to a potential like somebody that you really like. It's called like you do a harana. That's what you think.
Yeah.
So singing to a
Serenade,
person,
kind of.
serenade. Yeah. So singing that was a better one. Singing to a person that you potentially remember my personality from 16 years ago.
Yeah.
Was and "Tied Together as well" is for me sort of like half a confession in my head because this is like me saying I see you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I used to listen to the song and cry. Like this is how vivid it was. I would lie in the bed and I would hear the song and I would just be like, why is this so sad? It is really sad, but it's also like mildly hopeful, I guess, because of the perspective, right? But oh, it's so good. If you haven't heard it, Kristin, you have to listen to it because
I haven't. I'm excited to listen to it.
this is
This is definitely one of the ones that I know almost no songs from, but I do really love the song "Our Song."
I love it too.
Aw.
Yeah, I think it's just like really fun and like I don't know, it's just like you said, it's like an earworm. Whenever I get it in my head, like it'll be in my head for days.
I agree. That one's a definite earworm.
Yeah. But I'm excited to see if that one will change as we like keep deep diving because I really don't know too many others off of that album. I know Tim McGraw, but
yeah, I have a feeling it
that's
might
from
change because
Yeah.
because like you hear all of the other songs. The thing about the first album that most people probably don't think about, like the sound is very country, right? It's country,
100%.
Yeah.
but if you actually are looking at the lyrics of most of the songs, like it's already very impressive.
They
Like,
translate so well to other genres.
until now, I'm just like, wow, you wrote that at like this age. You wrote that at this age. That's literally my reaction. I'm like, how? How did you do that? Because I'm like, someone explained it to me.
What she said.
It's like wild to me. I can't wait for Kristin to experience, honestly, because like there's so
I'm
much in that.
excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be that one.
And then what's your favorite track off of Fearless?
Okay.
I mean,
Here's the thing. We all know that I'm going to say Love Story because, like, duh. However, I'm like, it's hard because that's been my favorite since the original version and now Taylor's version. Cool.
Mhm.
Except that now we have the vault songs, which sometimes
Yeah.
I'm like, to Macky's point, he's like, to be fair, you have like when you think about it, the vault you haven't had as long to love, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. Like you've had like, let's say a year or 2 years, whatever it's been. And then versus like, I've loved the original album since 2008. So it's been a while. But like, it was so hard picking my favorite because there is a vault song I so love, Fearless. And I was like, no, I can't justify it because Love Story has to be the one I picked.
It just has such longevity.
Yeah, and I know what Macky says. It has the same longevity.
it does not.
Does it? Did you?
By the way, I'm going to plug that at the end of 2022, I created a Taylor Swift for myself, obviously. I created a Taylor Swift time capsule because I wanted to capture at that moment what my favorite songs were. And of course, there's a giant spreadsheet where you can rank songs. So empirically, you can identify, you
Yeah.
can like pick out what your favorites are
Caveat.
at that moment.
I was gonna say caveat being at that particular time, right?
Because and hence time
Mhm.
capsule, because
Yeah.
snapshot, and then
I should do
just
it again.
just filter for, okay, so what are my top songs?
Oh wait, I know what it is. Never mind.
And it still is my top song, and it is Don't You. It
I
is
knew
a
it.
vault
That
track.
was the vault track I wanted.
Very when I stream this year on Twitch, haha, incriminating myself already, so I actually do it. This is one of the songs that I will cover. I literally have like a Taylor Swift like moment for
yeah,
and
yeah.
Don't You is one of the songs that I love singing, and is one of my favorite songs of all time, because remember, Personality at 16 years old was unrequited love.
Yeah.
And that's what Don't You kind of is at that point.
Oh yeah, we should share this spreadsheet with Kristin so she can see it.
That's true.
He has to just update it for 20.
You know how much
Super
I love
cumbersome.
spreadsheets.
I know you'll love it. You're gonna enjoy it so much.
I made an
I know.
infographic of my stuff anyway.
You'll enjoy it
That's
so much
amazing.
because the way Macky has so many categories. Like it's just like you drop down and pick.
Mhm.
So you're gonna.
That sounds like so
okay.
much fun.
What's yours,
Um,
Kristin? I'm gonna guess it's probably the same as mine.
It is. And I actually feel like better now that it's yours too, because I was like, I feel like it's like cliched.
No, it's
But
not.
it's
She says so.
it's just so good. And like it really does make me feel like a lot of emotion. So I feel like I couldn't not pick it.
Exactly. Agreed. Great choice. Obviously, I think so. Slightly biased. But you know what? It's fine.
Now moving on to Macky's favorite. What about Speak Now?
I feel like you should go first.
Oh yeah, no, this
Yeah.
is
Speak Now.
so again, restraining myself from speaking for 7.5 hours. It's gonna be from now on and forever, always Long Live. Like that is Long Live is everything I ever want to be as a writer. Like if there's anything I will ever want to write or do or produce, it'll be the theme and the heart and soul of the song Long Live.
Okay. Well,
It's
it was
so
funny because
good.
when I was picking for this album, there was another vault song which I'm like recently obsessed with because the new version came out in July, right? And this is the song that I've literally listened to. I'm pretty sure almost every single day I listen to it at least once, if
I can
not
attest
more.
to that, yes.
However, it's not the song I'm going to pick because, to Macky's point, like I do have a storied sort of history with Speak Now also. So it's Long Live also almost made the cut. However, there is a song on that album that I love so much. Like every time I hear it, I'm like, this song is so good and more people need to love it as much as I do. And the song is The Story of Us.
That's mine too.
See? I can officially tell you Taylor Swift taste.
Joy, absolute joy.
I love that song because you know what it is? It's a story, but it's also super smart in the way that she just changes certain things when she's repeating parts of the song. I'm just like, it's so good. It's so good. And I love it so much. It makes me so happy. You have no idea how happy I am that is also your favorite.
We do. That's so exciting.
I'm ridiculously pleased by this, in case you were wondering.
I am too. I also love that we didn't like talk about it before. So it was
no. It's the best.
That's part of the things. It's like we bring our questions, and that's it. I have a random like thought in my head where it'd be so fun to do a supercut, just like the credits of this thing, where we ask Andrew his favorite songs from each album, and I can almost predict him like going, "Well, I don't know anything from that. Just say, I like the song Strawberry Fields." or some random like, 3 words together, just because so funny. I miss Andrew.
So that's so funny. That's my favorite too. And I actually feel like Speak Now is the album that I had the hardest time choosing a favorite from because there are so many good songs. And it's also where I had to like try to think like, okay, I'm thinking favorite songs, like song that I'll listen to most, not necessarily the best song, but the one that is like my favorite. Yeah. And then I landed on Story of Us because I think that there are just so many great songs on that album. Yeah, that is so funny. I can't believe that we had the same one.
I'm so excited. Like, in case you're wondering.
Now, what about for Red?
Oh, I still feel like you should go first.
I have yet another vault track that has sort of like soared all the way. I mean, there's so Red had so many good songs. I would argue that Red and Speak Now were sort of like twins in that they have so many huge, like when they first came out before the Taylor's version, there's so many songs on it that are just classics. But when the
Agreed.
vault came out, I'm like, Message in a Bottle
Oh, I
is
freaking love that song.
it is pre-unrequited. Like you don't know if they're gonna love you yet, but or if they won't. But I just love the energy of it, and it's just some of the most hopeful. Like I feel like there is a rom-com out there somewhere that is cut to Message in a Bottle that is waiting to be
Actually,
written.
yeah, I could say that. It does seem like a rom-com-y song.
100%. Yeah.
Over. It's funny
Mhm.
that you say you had a vault song because I also had a vault song.
Yep.
Okay. To preface this, I will say it's also because I'm a little biased because I'm a fan of the person she collaborates with on this song.
Mhm.
Obviously, the song is "Run," which is her
Mhm.
collaboration with Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
I also really love "Everything Has Changed." Right, that was OG my favorite probably from Red. However, "Run," I think it's just the sound and the vibes of that song work so well for me. And apparently, I really have a thing for songs about people running away, which you're gonna find out why I said that eventually because we're about to get. But I just really like that song, and it's interesting to me to know that it was from their first early days
Yep.
as collaborators. Because I'm like, this song is so good. I could see why she wouldn't put it on the original album.
No, agreed.
I could see why it
Mhm.
would get cut. But like, I'm so glad it was part of the vault because it's so good. Just like the whole imagery she has in that song that they have in that song. Chef's Kiss so good. I love that song so much. I also listen to that one almost every single day. What about you?
For me, also vault track, but all too well the 10-minute version.
Oh, okay,
Um,
yeah, of course.
Yeah, I just love it so much, and I feel like again, it's like one of the ones where it's just such a great story, and I feel like it mirrors like so many relationships that I've seen friends go through in the past or that I've had like experiences with. I just feel like it's so like relatable, and it's especially interesting to hear like what she added to it
Yes.
from the original version. I just love it. Like, I don't know. It's one of my favorites.
You know what? It's also that one is one of my favorites to like, even though like obviously I'm not feeling that currently. It's
Yeah.
just funny when I'm like listening to it because you just want to sing it with her because you feel how
Yes.
you know how strongly she's feeling. So you're just like, I'm gonna sing it too. And
Yeah, I
all
feel like
those,
it really like brings you back to like those teenage emotions.
I will say it's very funny watching children sing it though, because I'm like,
Oh, we're gonna get into that eventually. It's like,
and sometimes I'm just like, when
it's
we,
like, ma'am, why is your child in like leather pants? Anyway,
and no,
but
no,
that's
no,
just
and screaming the lyrics for well 10 minutes. I'm like, okay.
and I'm just like, I mean, it's fine, right? But at the
Yeah.
same time, there's a part of my head which is like, it's not just me. This is not normal. Like, it's not meaning it's not an everyday occurrence that there's little children screaming
All Too Well's
all
lyrics.
too well's lyrics, all of them. And by the way, what rhymes with car keys? Anyway,
Yeah.
That part is actually I find very funny.
there's a meme. I'll text it to you later. Anyway,
All right, moving on.
All right, moving on to 1989.
we can both do this together.
Because we have the
Okay,
same song.
1, 2, 3. Style.
Okay, that one is so classic.
I feel like even the first time I ever heard Style, like the original Style too, not even Taylor's version, I was just like, this is it. That's the song. That's the one. That's the one I love the best. I don't know. It's just, again, it's like the lyrics in that song are so good. I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure Macky's has something a little bit to do with the instruments as well, like just the musicality of the song.
Taylor Swift is the only artist that I know where where my entire life and relationship with her as an artist is I didn't know I could love you more.
That's true.
And Style was pretty much that moment for me where I'm just like, what is happening? And I'd come to it's like she releases
And then
1989.
you
I
come to
had
New York,
just
yep.
moved to New York. First
Mhm.
track comes out, welcome to New York. And I'm like, why, thank you, ma'am. I do like you.
She wrote that for
And then
you.
I know, are you kidding? And then Style hits, and it is exact there. If I was going to produce anything musically at all,
It's what you
Style would be like thematically, it's long lived, but Style is musically everything I ever aspire and want to be in a million years. Like that is my whole life and personality on the inside.
Also, I think Style is one of those songs. Like, I love hearing it in any context, but the best context to hear it in is to have like headphones on that are noise canceling. So all you hear is Style, and you can walk listening to it because it's the perfect beat to strut to.
Somebody's, I mean, strutting up to
Like,
New York.
it is legitimately like if I'm listening to it, I'm walking to work. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
okay, I'm in the mood. I'm here. I'm like, I'm ready. Because it just gives me that vibe. Like that is the
Yeah.
energy.
I have a Taylor Swift walking playlist.
Yeah, he
well,
does.
strutting, but whatever. But
Nice.
and style is definitely on that.
What about you, Kristin?
That
Because
one is
this
so good.
album is hard to pick from because there are a lot of good songs.
This one is really hard. For me, I decided to go with New Romantics.
Nice.
I love that song. I just love I love that one lyric, like I could build a castle out of all the bricks they threw at me.
That's my
Just
favorite
like,
lyric from that song.
she's constantly like beaten down and then like just, still continues to build herself up and uses like the negative energy against her to turn it into something positive. And that's just something that I like connect with on a very deep level. And I really love it.
So good.
I was also like tempted to say the vault track, Now That We Don't Talk. That one just I can never get it out of my head. I love it. But definitely New Romantics is my favorite. But I do also love Style. There are like so many songs that I love on that album.
Very good.
Yeah.
It's hard. When we get to that, we can actually talk about it because
pick it apart. It's gonna be fun.
I feel like you and I have the same, but I do have an intro to give for the next album.
Okay, then why don't you go for it?
Okay. On Reputation, remember how I said earlier, like I have a thing for songs about running away?
Shall we say it on 3?
Yeah.
1,
Is
2,
it?
3.
I'm gonna start I had a feeling.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay, it was funny because like this was the first, this was the first album where we did the whole family thing with the midnight release, right? Because it just so happened that we were all here. So we sat there and we were listening to it, and obviously it's so different from 1989, right?
Yeah.
And from the track list, we like to do a thing where we're like, based on the title, which song do you think you like the best? So me looking at this track list, I'm like, it's gonna be Getaway Car. I was like, I know it's gonna be Getaway. And of course, the minute it starts, I'm like, oh yeah, of course it's Getaway Car. I love the dramatic storytelling of that song. Like I love it because it obviously alludes to something that actually happened, but also did it? Like it's just so good. Like all of the metaphors, all of the comparisons and stuff that she decided to use just work so well together. And like the vibe of like Bonnie and Clyde kind of in it. Also my favorite. Like it's one of the songs where I wish so much that there was an actual music video for it. Because I feel like it would lend itself so well to like a very cinematic, like this is a heist.
I have
that
so
would be very cool.
Right?
I have so many alternative rock auntie friends. They're aunties now because we're that age, who never liked Taylor Swift. But the minute they heard Getaway Car, they're like, "Why do I like her?" I was like, "Girl, just join the band. It's fine. Just come on over to this side. Reputation is for all of us. You don't have to watch the other albums if you don't like, but Getaway Car was me." I'm like, thank you for doubling down because
True.
Beautiful.
What about you, Ben? I'm curious, actually. Reputation's the one where I'm like, I can never guess what people will love on it.
So Reputation is one where I've listened to the beginning half of the album a lot of times, but I've never really listened to the ending half. So I'm choosing from a limited pool of songs. But I have to go with Look What You Made Me Do. Just because it's such a good song to exercise to. Like,
Agreed.
It's like, I don't know, it really keeps me like going. I really like the lyrics. And I also like, I'm not really someone that loves when there's like talking in songs, but I do actually really like the phone call when she says like the old Taylor's dead. Like, I just think it's a lot of fun. So yeah, I have to go with that.
I remember some friends, I think it was Newell, who was like, "Sis, are you for real?" And I'm like, "Yeah, she is."
I also think that one is so iconic at this point. Like it's just iconic.
I mean,
and she's like, she's always reinventing herself. So, and like, I don't know, she makes you feel like empowered that you can do that. And so, yeah, that's why I like it.
That's a good reason to like it.
So, Alexa, moving on to your favorite lover.
Okay, you don't even understand. Even using the spreadsheet, it's almost impossible for me with Lover because I'm like, there's too many I love. Except that now, because of getting to see the Eras tour, there is a song that obviously it's going to rise above everything else just because now I have a memory attached to it. Actually, I have two. I have two memories attached to it now. And I'm pretty sure Macky and I have the same answer again.
On
I
3.
wonder if I do too.
1, 2, 3. Cruel Summer.
Same.
I
That's me too.
There you go. All 3 of us. No, here's the thing about Cruel Summer. Lover, so Lover drops. We listen to it over midnight, and I literally remember the first 3 days of listening to Lover when it drops, of myself physically levitating at the very from start to finish. The minute that first beat drops for oh my god, that rhythmic
so
thing. I'm like, why am I off the ground? Am I like it's like, what is like the whole time? I remember saying this out loud in New York City as I'm walking. What is this? Like, I don't. It's just so otherworldly. And again, right in the haunted ghosts of the apartment of my house.
And the story of it is super subtle, but I love it. I'm just like, this is clearly not a relationship you should be in.
Right.
And yet we're all drunk in the back of the car with you, you know?
The irony of me detaching, like that's the part I can't relate to the most because I kind of don't go home drunk. But I get it. I understand
feeling
it.
You understand, right?
Yeah, I'm the dude that put her in the car. That's always my job, or that was always my. But everything else was just like, oh my god,
it's like all the drama of like it's a forbidden romance, clearly, because she's like, I don't want to keep secrets just to keep you.
That line.
Hello. Ooh,
that's
so see, even just thinking about it just makes me go. And like I said, like it's hard now for me to disassociate the memory of experiencing that song. See, this is why I'm like, this could have been Loverfest, because we would have all done exactly this. We would have all screamed the bridge of that song.
Yeah,
like it would have happened, like 100%, and it would have been so epic. So getting that tiny version of it in the Eras tour, so good.
Yeah,
like, ridiculously good.
What do you like about Cruel Summer, Kristin?
I would just have to echo everything that you guys said, and I do feel too like it was just so powerful when she appeared, and like that was the song.
No, I
it hits really hard. And I obviously the bridge is like so much fun. Like that's just so much fun to scream along to. And again, like it also feels like one of those things that just brings you back to like your teenage years when like, you know, you really want something with someone, but maybe they're not as interested, but you just like have all these feelings, and I love it.
Gosh. Oh my gosh. That's so true.
Now what about Folklore?
Oh, Folklore is also interesting for me because I feel like my song changes all the time. However, my current favorite from Folklore is My Tears Ricochet, just because I've always really loved that song, just because I find it, I don't know, it's weirdly cathartic. I don't know how to explain this. It's like, because obviously she's like dead and buried in the ground, right? Like this is the vibe of that song, except that she's like, well, I don't have anything left for you. Like, why are you still here? You don't have to be. I just like the imagery of that song a lot, and the lyrics in that song a lot, which is a lot of what I can say about Folklore actually and Evermore. It's the lyrics and the stories in those songs that really get me most of the time. But yeah, my current favorite is My Tears Ricochet, and it just makes me sad when she gets to the bridge and you're just like, I could go anywhere I want,
just not here.
Just not. And I'm just like,
home.
okay, I'm sad now.
Oh.
Yeah, all the imagery in that song. Chef's kiss.
I've not heard that one yet.
Kristin, I'm so like, I honestly am so excited for you.
Okay, so from what you have heard,
yeah, I was gonna say,
what has so far been like the shiniest?
I think this is one where it's just so Folklore and Evermore, both of them, I've really not listened to either album at all.
Oh, okay.
I think those came out during the Animal Crossing years. And
yes,
yes.
That's correct. Right. It was like the height of Animal Crossing.
Yeah, so like there was nothing else.
When Animal Crossing, like basically,
from now
it was basically the equivalent of 24
from now on, we refer to was it 2020? What was that?
2020. Yeah, it was basically like
20.
April to December of 2020 was probably like the height of it.
Yeah, so
and this was our second. You don't understand. We were running an island, okay?
No, 2020 and 2021 be referred to as the COVID years. They shall now henceforth be referred to as the Animal Crossing era.
It really, I mean, I played over 1,000 hours of Animal Crossing in the year that it was released. Like,
you were running an island, Kristin. We were running an island. Like I don't know what else to tell you.
I had a lot of villagers to answer to. There was So those are definitely the two albums that I've heard the least from, but I would have to go with August. And it's probably just because I've heard it on Instagram so many times.
So good.
So it's like gotten in my head, but it's also like one of the ones outside of what she performed at the Eras tour. It's one of the ones that I actually know from the album, and I do enjoy it. So
That's very good.
There's a kid. Well, he's not a kid anymore, but there was a kid from a workshop class that I taught and directed who did a cover of August. I will send it to you. It is the most
Very
beautiful rendition I've heard in a while. But no, August is glorious. It is such a glorious song.
One of my favorites also on that album.
Same.
What's yours? August?
So mine, I will say mine as a plea to the universe to make it happen. This American, the last great American dynasty.
Right.
And
I love that one too.
And I need Blake Lively to play Rebecca.
Yeah.
Like I just need Taylor Swift to direct the last great American dynasty, and it's Blake Lively in Rhode Island, just
she has
gambling.
a house for it.
Yeah, just and I want Dolly to be played by Taylor, who always wins always wins the card games.
It would make such a good music video, though.
Yeah, I would
Really would.
I mean, and in reference to everything that people are complaining about Taylor Swift right now, she is having a marvelous time ruining everything.
Yes. Yeah. That's the other one that I was between.
The Eras Tour performance of it, is
so good.
They translated it so beautifully. Like
that was like the first time that I ever heard it, was seeing it performed at the Eras Tour, and I loved it's another one that has like a great story. So that's why I was kind of like between the two, but I've definitely listened to August a lot more. So that's why I felt like it was one of those favorite versus best kind of things.
Yeah, it's so hard. It's so hard picking again. It's like picking a favorite child.
Yeah.
Oh well. Now we're gonna talk about the sister album, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about Evermore. It's funny because like of the two, Evermore has always been my favorite, which is an unpopular opinion among the family Swifties because most of them love Folklore more. Which like I love Folklore, don't get me wrong, but like Evermore, I don't know, it just hits.
Taylor too also say that she likes I've heard like she doesn't really like Evermore, but she loves Folklore.
I guess,
really?
which I find interesting.
Yeah.
I really like Evermore, and you know, this one is actually one of the ones where it's really hard for me to pick a favorite song because almost every single track is something like I'm like, I love it. However, my favorite song on Evermore, which has not changed since the beginning, like there are a lot of songs where I'm like, I really appreciate the sound of this song, but no, this is actually the song that stuck with me every single time I listen to Evermore. And it's funny because not a lot of people enjoy it that much, and it's Long Story Short, which is like one of the later tracks, and I just basically I just like the vibes of that song because it's all about how she survived all of the tragedy that came before, because like the most important line in that song is the long story short, I survived. And I'm like, I just love it. I every time I hear it, I'm like, I just want to scream it. Again, it's like one of those songs where I'm like, I could scream this song. I could scream all the lyrics to it. So for me, that's my favorite out of every single song on Evermore, which is saying a lot given that there's a lot of excellent songs on there.
Oh, is it my okay?
Macky?
So it'll be Evermore title song.
Oh, so good too.
And only because of the imagery and the wordplay around catching my breath and catching my death.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, girl, what are you doing?
I do like the transformation in that song from the way it starts to the way it ends.
Yeah, it's very like that for me. That was the height of like, okay, Taylor now officially does not give a crap about like the industry and what people. She is gonna write any song any way she wants. And I think Evermore is perfect because it does not fit your usual mold. I mean,
I think that's also what it is. Maybe that most people find it Folklore better because it is more cohesive.
Yeah,
Evermore is a little bit more scattered. We can talk about this more in depth when we get to Evermore, obviously, but like Evermore is a bit more scattered. I would say
it's like if
it's very good, but it's scattered.
It's like if you're super talented and coherent and artsy, but then you sort of like decided to like do your album in the woods. Like that's just pretty much what
it's basically like a short collection where the stories don't link as well.
Yeah.
Whereas with Folklore, they link a lot better overall.
Because
like,
she actually did like 3 of them at the very least. So.
And not even just 3. I feel like in general, the album itself just like has a very cohesive vibe versus Evermore, where it's kind of like, this is happening, oh, and there's that, you know. So it's a little bit messy, but I think that's why I like it so much, because I'm like, I feel like that all the time. So I understand. What about you,
I'm so
Kristin? I'm
excited to listen to these now.
Yeah. So you haven't listened
This
to
is-
as much of it. I'm curious which one sticks out to you.
So of Evermore, I like Champagne Problems. And again,
Yes.
it's choosing from a limited pool of probably like 2 or 3 songs that I saw performed, and that's all that I know. But I just, again, like, I think that one's really fun. But I'm curious to see, because I tend to really like the songs with very good stories in them. So I have a feeling that that will be one that changes when I actually listen to that album.
Yeah, I think so. Both of them. You might end up changing your favorite, because a lot of Folklore and Evermore is storytelling.
100%.
Yeah.
You know. Also, I can't unsee Champagne Problems as a Joe and Laurie from Little Women song, in case you're wondering.
Oh,
Because
I like that.
this has that energy. Like, it's literally
Yeah,
like,
I love
it's like,
I love you, Joe.
will you marry me? And she's like, I can't. I'm like, and then there's the train. I'm like, okay, I can't. So ever since I first heard that song, I'm like, can't unsee it. Like,
Mhm.
it's Little Women.
Poor Timothy Chalamet.
I know, poor Timothy. Oh, okay. Now we're getting to a good one, because Kristin's definitely
Yeah.
listened to that.
Yes, this one I know intimately.
So I feel like go.
Moving on
please.
to Midnights.
I feel like you
For
can
me,
go first.
it has always been Mastermind.
Oh,
I
Nice.
just love that. I love, like, I mean, I literally have on my Notion board, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. That is like,
yes.
there could not be anything that is more me. Um, I'm very type A. I'm very like, I need to know everything. And I just feel like I relate to it so much. Like, the way that her mind works in it, I feel like, is the way that my mind works. And
It was
I just
accidental.
really, I love it. Like, and I love that she's like upfront about it. And then I also love, like, at the end that, like, he knew the whole time. Like, she thought that she was being like all,
Stealthy.
like,
Clever.
yeah, exactly. And like, it was pretty obvious. So I just feel like that is very, like, I don't know, I just relate to it very strongly.
The amount of self-awareness in Mastermind is just chef's kiss for me. I mean, who writes Machiavellian into a
Yes.
song?
Oh my God.
Yes.
Exactly.
That
Oh,
is my
I love that.
right, and it's kind of meta in that, like, these are all Taylor's like personal opinions of herself, maybe magnified, like 25 times or whatever.
No, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
like, I get that as somebody who is also Machiavellian.
Right. And then I also
like-
just feel like it was so, like, raw of her to, like, talk about how, like, when she was younger and no one wanted to play with her.
Oh, yeah.
And so now she's been, I just, like, oh my God, I just love it so much.
Literally my entire childhood. So I'm just like, Taylor, don't tell the people our secrets, but make all of us happy.
Yes.
And make
Yeah.
so much.
I love that you picked that song. That's actually my number 2, in case you're wondering.
In case your number 1 was.
I feel like I should go last, because mine is not on the main album. Mine is on the 3am track. So I feel like I should go
Okay.
last.
Mine on the 3am track?
I'm not.
Then I feel
I
like,
don't. No,
No,
please.
mine.
Yeah, I was like,
Mine
there's
is
no way. There's no other. Okay. I will preface this by saying I knew what his number 1 was, and I'm so surprised that he didn't remember it, because I'm like, there was a period of time where this was all he sang in the apartment.
really?
Yeah.
Every single day, without fail.
streaming one day in 2024. It's gonna have to be Maroon. I adore, like, again, it's
That big beginning where it's like,
oh my God, no, it's just that, and there's just something so painful and poignant about just like the heartbreak of it that I live for, and like, this is it. Like, I never thought I could love you more, Taylor,
and yet
until this album
Wait, I
drops.
missed it. Which song?
Sorry,
Maroon.
Maroon.
Oh, Maroon. Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Right?
I was
It's just-
that Maroon was my number 2.
Ah!
there you go.
It's my number 3, actually, which is funny, because we're literally.
Close groupings.
I do really like the story in Maroon.
Yeah.
I
That's
do
also
too.
really-
Yeah.
It's the quintessential city relationship breakup.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I adore
It
that.
reminded me
And
of,
the
like, the college years.
Yes. That's the energy I'm getting.
Absolutely.
Like college, like new adult age. That's like the vibe of Midnights in general, I think. Okay. Well, I said mine was on the 3 a.m. tracks. It is. From the minute I first heard The Great War, that has literally been my favorite Midnight song ever. And it's partially because of the storytelling in it, but it's also just because I like how it transforms it does the Taylor thing where it's like the first verse and chorus, one thing, the second verse and chorus are another thing. And then there's the bridge and the final chorus. I'm like, it's just so satisfying to get an ending, I think. Yeah. I love that song so much. Like my obsession with that song is very high. That is the song I play a lot. And everyone in this household knows because literally I will have it blasting and it will just repeat itself over and over again. So, that's a vibe.
That song is really beautiful.
I just love the imagery that she put into it. Like, I'm just like, girl, you did not have to go that hard, and you did.
Yeah.
It's too much for me.
I also really love Paris.
It's so fun.
That was
the
fun.
3 tracks actually, with the exception of Bigger Than the Whole Sky, which breaks my heart every time I hear it.
Yeah.
All the other 3 a.m. tracks on that album, so fun. Glitch is really fun too.
You're losing me.
Oh my god, you're losing me though. Too many. I like how this is the longest portion of this intro episode. Can you imagine what it's going to be like if we go album by album?
No.
It'll be really fun.
I'm excited. I'm like really looking forward to it. I don't even care if no one watches. I'm having a blast.
This is a diary entry.
Yeah, it'll be so fun.
Yes. This is catharsis because also we're going to talk to Taylor Swift of the people we like and love, right? So
it's so fun. I love talking about Taylor Swift. All right, we can move on to the next question.
All right. So, what is your favorite music video?
It's funny you asked this question because now the family Swifties are separated again by the ocean, obviously. But before that, there was this one day where all we did was watch all of her music videos, like every single one, just because we were like, how long has it been since we watched some of these, right? We were like,
I wish I could have been there for that. That sounds fun.
Yeah, we could do it all over again. Girl. Like, I will just come over to your house and we'll just sit there and we'll watch. Because Macky, I don't think was there.
No, I was not.
He came at the end of it, I think. So I feel like we could just sit there
here, and then we'll also subject Andrew to all of them.
Yes, exactly.
I'll bring some alcohol of some kind to help ease him in. It's just like, you're in for a long haul.
Alcohol and snacks.
Drops a bottle of rum right in front of him. We're in for the long haul, baby. It'd be a long trip.
But anyway, obviously, it's not going to surprise anyone that I will pick Love Story. Everything about that one, from the aesthetic to the way that it's like she sees him in modern day and then gets transported into this entire love story in her head. Like, please, anyone who writes or reads romance, that is literally what it's like. You literally see something and you're like, how can I configure that into a fictional scenario? So I'm like, I get that. I relate to that so hard. And I also just really love the dress she wears in that. Like, I just love the dress she wears in that.
I actually never saw that video.
Oh, you should watch it. Do you like how it's like wounded?
I'm excited. That's like part of my plan for the deep dives is like listening to the album in full and then watching every video that goes along with it. And I'm excited.
Debut. I'm excited for you to watch the videos because surprisingly, there is one of those videos where like we were all watching it and we were like, I don't remember it being this good because it was. I won't tell you which one. But like, I'm interested. You'll think when you watch it. But anyway, what's your favorite? Oh wait, I know.
Wait, no. You'll be surprised. Narrowly beating out. You belong with me, because I to this day still cry. Not so much at anything except for that part when she's finally bringing out the piece of paper was definitely thematic. But when what's his face brings out his piece of paper saying the exact same thing, just tears, right?
So good.
But narrowly beating that is Taylor's version of Long Live, because not only does she sort of like, because so it starts out right, and Long Live, she starts showing clips of Speak Now, like the tour. So this is Taylor at the height of her career, leading into clips of actual Taylor singing at the Eras tour. And the amount
Oh,
of
wow.
tears that were shed that night, just because of our fandom and our love for like this
Yeah.
artist who has basically sung all of our lives. I'm like, yeah, this one's my favorite music video now. But just by sheer number of tears that it has brought me to.
Oh, by the way, just to clarify for anyone who doesn't know, whenever she releases the Taylor's version, she does that thing where she releases like a video with the lyrics, right?
Yeah.
So he's
Yeah.
talking specifically about the one for Long Live, which was different from all of the others for Speak Now.
That's correct.
In
Yes.
that she did that. She took the footage. And yeah, when he says there was a lot of tears, he doesn't just mean him. I swear.
The whole room.
The entire room, like, I think at some point, like my sister Rachel, who loves Speak Now, that's her era
that's
also.
her, yeah.
It's like curled up on the couch, sobbing her eyes out. I'm on the floor, sobbing my eye. Like it's like a
We're
whole.
all just like,
I'm like, who decided this was okay? Like who?
it was great.
It was.
Like,
It was very
like that's what a yearbook should feel like.
Yeah, right?
It's just, if you like
Mhm.
school, I did it. But that's what that should be. It's a timestamp of everything awesome, and that's why I can't not.
Long
Yeah.
Live. Yeah. There. What about you, Kristin?
So for me, I think that my answer is 100% going to change on this one. And keeping in mind that I've seen a limited number of her videos, this one is super unpopular, but I do really love the video for me.
I like the aesthetic.
I love.
Exactly.
I
I
love
love like all of the pops of color. Like it's all pastels, which I am always so like drawn to pastel. I just think it's so fun. And I also really just love like when she's on stage in that like 1960s esque
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was
like
really
red and pink heart outfit. I just think that is so cute. And like her hair and everything. That one like purely on aesthetics is one that I just really like. And probably my second would be Blank Space.
Yeah. Blank Space is actually was one of my top contenders because I just love that entire video because it's so chaotic. Like
on purpose.
no, and it's
Yeah.
great. The way she lives out the lyrics, I just drive like it makes me laugh.
Just the
Me
just
too.
the, just the crazy just the crazy
The
just the
screaming,
crazy
crying,
eyes
perfect storm. Oh,
and then the
that lyric.
mascara. It's just so
Yep.
good.
It's so. But to go back to me, like it's one of those songs where like the fandom is pretty much like we just set it aside, which I find interesting because I don't love that song, but I also don't
Mhm.
dislike it, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Like it is on the album I like the best, but I like the video. I thought it was so fun because I really love the
I
aesthetic
love
of
it too. Yeah.
Like it's just
And
it's
I
everything.
like the song. Like I don't think it's the best song ever, but it's like a really catchy pop song.
It is.
The argument in French, like I just
Yes.
No, first, Benjamin is in this video. Okay, Benjamin is in this video, and that's very important to me.
feel please. I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, thank you for that. I treasure that forever.
Listen, I want the pastel business suit.
First of all,
that's what I want.
First of all,
Yes.
completely unnecessary, but to Taylor necessary, and therefore to me a boon to my
Right?
life. That's
I want the pastel business suit. I want the everything about that video. I just like all the colors.
Brendan Urie.
Me too.
I know. The umbrellas. I want the umbrellas.
Yes, I love those. And I like too, like when everyone's like dancing in the street, it's very like Broadway musical.
Yes,
No,
that's the vibe.
You kidding? Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, so now what is your favorite album era aesthetic? So not songs, but aesthetic wise.
For me or just overall? Because that's two different answers actually. It's interesting because right now, if you ask right now, if you ask me right now, like at this particular junction in time, the one I'm most drawn to, the one I think is my current energy vibe is probably Folklore, which is funny. But since we're gonna try and go with like all-time favorite, then obviously it's Lover. Because like the tie-dye and pastel is a dead giveaway. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's
100%.
just like, okay, it's like this thing with the seasons, right? I'm in hibernation mode, so like Folklore is literally everything that I'm wearing right now. It's like a cardigan over a long sleeve sweater over a whatever. Like that's the energy. But yeah, overall, Lover for sure.
Yeah, it's still Midnights for me because there's
Not
because Midnights is really literally just jammies and you're out and you're in your jogging pants at the grocery after the breakup getting ice cream. Or
oh my God, that's so perfect. Or you're getting dressed
or
up to
you
go out,
are
girl.
a bejeweled, which is also my thing.
Oh yeah.
And I have no in between these days. I have no in between at all. Like, so from now until forever, midnights.
I feel like
What about
mine changes. Mine changes a lot, but definitely I would say like without fail every January it would be Lover. Usually like as soon as Christmas is over, I'm just so ready for like spring, summer, and I just love like the pastel tie-dye, sparkles, like the whole 9 yards. It's all just my vibe. Like that is like my January every single year.
Lovely.
I could see that.
How
And I
many
feel
Taylor
like you and I do the same thing, by the way. Now that you mentioned season, because I bet you by the time summer hits, you're like 1989.
100%. Yeah.
I think that's how I am too. I'm like the minute it shifts into summer, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, 19 because of the beach.
And Evermore seems very fall to me with the like the flannel.
Reputation is also fall when you're no, that's not true. Reputation is year round when you're put in that mood where you're like, I have to channel this energy.
Bad bitch energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
How many Taylor Swift concerts have you been to?
I have been pretty lucky. I have gotten to go to 3. So I've gotten to go to 1989, Reputation, which I did twice, and then Eras, which I've gotten to do twice, which was really lucky.
I've gone to 4.
Yeah. Oh, and you went to one of my favorites.
So Speak Now, which I mentioned earlier, she stage dove off that stage magnificently. Oh, and it opens with Sparks Fly, if you're familiar. And so it starts with a guitar riff, and the minute she sings "Drop Everything Now," the curtain drops.
Ooh.
So yeah, formative years. So it's Speak Now, 1989, Reputation, and then of course Eras. So that's my deal.
Nice. I have not been to any. I feel like I'm not really a concert person anymore. Like I used to go to concerts all the time when I was younger, but I was going to like $20 indie rock concerts where there were not like too many people. And I think if I had the opportunity to see Taylor Swift in concert, I would 100% go. But I do get really anxious when there's like that many people around because I just think about like if something happens and how do I get out? It's just how my brain works. So I think it would be like a little bit nervous, but I would push myself to do it just because I do love her so much, and I think seeing her in person would be such like a transformative experience. But as of now, I have not seen her in concert.
Me being like, what are her concerts in the US in 2024?
I mean, a friend from work has already even as early as last year purchased like a couple of tickets for her New Orleans shows.
Right?
So...
Oh, I know. Macky was saying, actually, should we go watch it in New Orleans? I'm like,
how much? Like,
I have no idea.
You're gonna have to like sell a kidney. It doesn't have to be.
But I will say, I don't know if you've gotten the chance to watch all of the recorded concert tours because it is pretty fun. Like, okay, that should be part of your Taylor Swift journey because revisiting them is interesting. Just seeing how she grows into who she is right now is it's like one of those coming of age stories, but you get to watch it in concert form, which is really fun, and you get to see all of like the little things she added on each tour, right? Because everything is slightly different. Like there's a lot more theatricality, especially in Speak Now. I want to say like the stage setups for Speak Now. The one you got to watch was like an abbreviated version of it too, because you couldn't bring the whole set.
Yep, she couldn't.
But the way she has that one set up is very theatrical, and I'm like, you really put a lot of thought into that.
Like it's the woods, it's the castle, it's everything.
The bell. Oh my god, it's wild. It's so fun. I should send it to you.
Yes, please.
Yeah, like how to find them.
Yeah, I need to.
Okay.
So outside of her musical tracks, what other Taylor Swift experiences have you had or watched?
Okay. Luckily, and this was also because I was with the family Swift. I like how I just called them the family. It sounds like a band.
It does.
Swift.
Right? But we were lucky because they did some pop-ups in New York. And even though you had to wait in like massive lines and like there were so many people. So we went to the Reputation one, and it was so cold when we were waiting in that line, I remember, but it was so much fun. And then we went to the Lover one. Two very different vibes, mind you.
You think?
It was really fun because those had not just the merch, but they also had like different photo ops and like things you could do, and that was really fun. And obviously, I've obviously seen a lot of the recorded tours and documentaries and interviews and live performance. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I've watched her on. But honestly, the thing that I treasure the most that I've seen her at is not, in fact, her tour, but I actually went to see Ed Sheeran on his first tour for the Plus album. And he like out of nowhere, and like me and my sister Melissa, we were like, wouldn't it be wild if he brought out Taylor Swift as a special guest? Because he was in Madison Square Garden, right?
Wow.
And we were just like joking. Cut to, it's like later, and she's like, I'm bringing out my friend Taylor Swift. And me and Mel literally lost it because this is Red era. Of course, they're saying everything has changed. And we're both like, did that actually just happen? To Mel, she was
That's
like,
amazing.
she felt validated too, because she was like, it was her first New York concert. She had just moved to the city. This is everything. And she's
she
like,
missed the Red tour.
And she missed the Red tour, which was her favorite. It's still her favorite album.
It's
I want to say.
100%, yeah.
And she's like, at least I got to see this. And I'm like, I know we got to see this. It's so iconic. So yeah,
That's
I will never be,
amazing.
like, I will never be over it. Like, never. Two of my favorite people in one place. It has never happened for me again, and I'm still upset about it.
All I got was the Taylor Swift Museum, which is not a bad thing.
Oh my god, I totally forgot about that.
Because we were I mean, it's certainly dwarfed by the other things you just mentioned. But there was a Taylor Swift hereabouts.
I think it's still here. It might still be here.
Was that the place where they had the koi fish like guitar and then suddenly they pulled it out and
Oh,
everybody started
no, that's it.
That was in Nashville, okay.
But this one, the museum experience that Macky's talking about is like, it's her costumes from the different tours she's been on. So it's really cool because you get to see
some of the music videos too.
Yeah, Kristin would actually really have liked that exhibit.
Is it the one at the Mad Museum right now?
Yeah.
That's the one.
Okay.
And
Andrew and I were just talking about going to that.
You should. You would enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because I think you'd enjoy it because it's particularly focused on the fashion part of it.
Yeah.
I do love fashion.
And it's so fun seeing all her clothes, and then you realize how tall she actually is, and you're
she
like,
is very tall. Like, really? I'm looking at her and I'm like, lady's taller than me.
Yeah, like of course some of them have like the high-heeled shoes, right? But the ones that don't, you're just like, this is a very long dress.
She has very long limbs and a very long bones kind of torso deal.
What about you, Kristin?
So I guess it is musical, but I did watch the Eras tour in movie theaters and I've rented it at home. And then I've also just watched a lot of like internet interviews with Taylor, and I've watched a lot of deep dive videos on YouTube. And I've seen like things that she's acted in, like New Girl and Saturday Night Live and Valentine's Day.
Yeah. You should watch what is it? The Lorax, because her voice coming out of that animated character is so funny to me.
Oh, really? I didn't realize she was in that.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's the one, if I remember correctly. With Zac Efron.
Oh.
And Saturday Night Live clips are pretty fun too. So
oh my god,
her Saturday Night Live stuff. Yeah. Her monologue when she hosted was so good.
What's interesting about that monologue is that she actually wrote it, not on the prompt of the writers at SNL, but she actually offered and say, Can I write? And they're like, all right. And then she does it. And they're like, oh my gosh, she's funny. Well, yeah, because
she is
that's
funny.
Amazing.
The company she keeps.
That's really cool.
Anyone who's friends, like genuine friends with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, has to be funny. Or it just doesn't.
Oh my God. I love that friendship so much. Like, I love it so much.
Like the amount of sarcasm, it just won't work.
They just seem like great people. This is like a little bit unrelated, but at the beginning of last year, I read Stanley Tucci's book. And he was saying that when he got diagnosed with cancer and he needed to be going like to the hospital, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds let him live in their New York apartments that he could be close to like where he needed to go and like have his family there and stuff. And I was just like, they're like,
that's
the best.
Something they would do, to be honest.
Yeah, no, they're just meeting each other on purpose. Like, and just that's it. Like that's the only.
And I also like that they don't really care about anyone finding out about them doing nice things. Like they'll just do it. You know what I mean? It's just like, I'll do it. I love them.
Right.
In case you couldn't tell.
Okay, so as of right now, what does Taylor Swift mean to you?
that was a really hard question, actually. But I feel like in general, like the top thing that she means to me is like she is one of the people I consider a creative inspiration, right? Because it's her ability to weave those stories into songs and to pick the right words to express like a feeling or a moment or a memory. It's like magic for me. And I'm like, that's what I want. That's what I aspire to, right? That's what I want to succeed at. Not in songwriting, but like just the same sort of energy. Plus, I feel like I feel so encouraged because she's always just got this drive to keep going, to keep chasing after things. And I'm like, if she can do it, I can do it too. Plus, that whole thing you mentioned earlier about the reinvention, right? That is also another thing where I'm like, it feels validating. We shouldn't need it, right? But it does feel validating to have someone you admire so much constantly be doing that. Because like it's almost like it's fine if I do it too, if that makes sense. Which I love. Plus, I also just love that, loving her has let me do and share memories with other people, right? Like this whole conversation is already going to be such a fun memory for me because I'm like, it's connected me with other people in a way I don't think I expected. Because, okay, I'm a very big fangirl person.
No.
Can't tell it all, right?
Since when?
What I find the most interesting about being a fangirl is just like no one really matches that level in my personal life on such a steady basis, right? Like I'm very lucky now because like I have Kristin because like we do share the same level, and I have all of our other friends, but like Taylor Swift for some reason is like the one where it's like multiple people in my life we can connect on that level now, and it's the same energy, the same love. We don't necessarily love the same things or have the same favorites, but like it's the same, like we recognize it's like calls to like, ew, I used a Christopher's.
hey, that's a good one.
Okay,
I love
fine,
that.
Fine. But it is like that. It feels like that. There's like a resonance with other people that isn't easily replicated.
Yeah.
I think. And that's also something that, made her extra meaningful to me, if that makes sense.
Agreed.
All right, I have enough about that. I'm just gonna make
I think that was really beautifully put.
Yeah, agreed. What's interesting is that obviously we didn't talk about our answers either, but I literally have the words inspiration and encouragement in my notes because like I want to say I'm a late in life kind of creative, which sounds ridiculous considering how much creative stuff I've been doing up to the point when I realized I was a different kind of creative person. But there's something about, and this is gonna sound super nerdy, but she validates a lot of my theories about sustainable creativity, and I don't just mean of the just being creative kind, but I mean of curating a body of work, a body of original work. I want to say, and that she has kept at it, that she has not been afraid to break boundaries,
or try things.
And for her to just like in the like interviews of her talking about 1989, telling her entire team, no, I want to do it this way. And they're like, are you sure? Are you sure? And it's like 60 million times she has to say, no, this is going to be great. And nobody believed her until it worked. And her entire life has just been an uphill climb of, no, but this is going to work. It's got to be this way. And everyone going, are you sure? And she's like, just hold my beer for God's sake. And
wine.
I mean, now it's Wine Taylor, but which we love. We love us Wine Taylor so much.
Wine Taylor.
Yeah. But yeah, and I feel like she's always like lately to me, everything that she does is just sort of like an encouragement to say, all right, stick to your guns, do your thing, and there's no reason you should stop.
Yeah.
Because she's not going to, and frankly, neither should we.
No, not at all. What about you, Kristin?
So similarly to like you guys said, I feel like she's so incredibly inspiring. Like just the way that she's always persevered when so many things have happened to her that would have discouraged like any other person from continuing to create and subject themselves to the unfair criticism that she gets. She's just like almost like a beacon of like hope. Like, and I feel like what?
That's how it feels for sure.
Yeah, it really does. And this is like definitely less important, but important to me. She's like the reason that I finally started exercising regularly. And it's just because I like enjoy listening to her music so much that now like I get home from work and I like look forward to putting on my workout clothes and exercising while listening to whatever album I feel like listening to at the moment. Like I feel like she just like everything about her music and her songs are so inspiring, and they get me to move. And I like feel better about myself as a result of listening to her. And yeah, I just like, I'm eternally grateful for that. And I just want to continue to see her like succeed and thrive. Like, I just want all of the good things for her.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
No, I 100% agree with that.
So good.
I
So
love Taylor
good.
Swift.
I do too. So do you have any Taylor Swift predictions for 2024?
There was a comic book series in the Spider-Man sort of like realms of called Maximum Carnage. I'm calling 2024 Maximum Clownage.
Would you care to elaborate?
Well, she's just gonna keep dropping hints until debut and Reputation Taylor's version comes out, and if people are gonna be like vilified or like not or whatever,
Yeah.
but she's just gonna keep dropping hints, and we're just gonna be like, is it again? It's not.
Okay,
Or
so
is it
I find that so funny because at this point, like, it's out of control, right? Some of it is like she really contrives the hints, and then sometimes it just happens, and it's not even on purpose. People will read into it.
I almost feel like she's holding back just because people are so into
it. Because then she doesn't have to do as much work on it, but people are still like, oh no, but this is.
I will say this though. Speaking of clowning, I would be mildly disappointed that if she doesn't do this, I would only be mildly disappointed because it was such a good opportunity. Reputation was basically there will be no explanation. Yeah. There will only be Reputation. Yeah. If she should just drop it, kind of like Beyonce, my theory. Just out of nowhere, no announcement at all, or maybe just like a snake. I don't know, but
that's what she did last time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So she wiped her Instagram, and then it was just the black and white and the snake and everyone.
Yeah, but see, at least there was a lead up to that. Here, I just feel like it should just drop on Spotify. Everyone's like, "What the?" And the whole world will just melt down.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's actually what I think.
Feel like she's already. No, I feel like she's already like with Taylor Nation on Instagram dropped 2 hints. Like, I mean, her last photo I think was like the she had like big hair, and she said hair is full of secrets with like a lot of S's, which you would think snake, Reputation, got to be that. And then before that, she had posted a photo that was like it was like a teacup on top of a clock with Roman numerals. Yeah, and she had the blue thumbnail next to 8, which is when 1989 dropped, and the black thumbnail next to 2, which is probably when we're getting Reputation. I feel like even crazy, like knowing anything like that, like, that probably just shows what's happened to me.
You want to talk crazy? We're like, yeah, totally. Yeah, that's we are in 100% of the same accord as you, with no self-awareness of why. How do you even? We're like, yeah, totally, we buy into that. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's my prediction. I do think she will drop Reputation and debut this year, mostly because I feel like it'll end the Eras tour.
Yeah.
And the Eras tour, like, to have all of it out. And then that means the year after she can release new music again.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's also in the works, like low key.
Dude, she probably has the album done.
There.
It's probably done already.
Yeah. Like, I also would not be upset if she decided she's like, oh, I'm gonna drop the new one. Fine. But I do have a feeling just because she seems to like parallels and a lot of symmetry in her work in general, I do think she's going to finish off the era. This is why I think Reputation will be before debut.
For sure.
Because I think debut should be the last so that it's her name. You know what I mean? Like, it is Taylor
100%.
Swift, Taylor's version.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would be so, like, I don't know if she's going to do it, like, but it would be very iconic if, like, the very last Eras tour stop, wherever it is. I don't even remember at this point.
Nashville?
And then she just drops. She's like releasing Taylor Swift, because I feel like that's just like, it just makes sense in my head. So for me, that's what I'm waiting on. Like, I just want her to be like, here you go. But I do agree with your theory about Reputation. I do feel like she should just drop it. At this point, it's just like, I don't need to say it, because she really doesn't need to say anything.
She doesn't have to do anything these days.
No.
And the more interesting part is gaps between the albums, the re-released ones, are so small now. Because July was peak now. 1989 was what? November, October?
Yeah.
The gap was so tiny. And I'm like, it's fine if you have a tiny gap again for Reputation.
Yeah. And here's the deal. Like, Evermore dropped with literally no lead time or whatever.
It was just
so it's not like she hasn't done it before. Taylor Swift can drop anything and it'll top the charts in an instant.
True. Especially Reputation. My gosh, she could drop that album and everyone would be like, yes, I'm ready.
I need that vault.
Yeah.
I need
I
that
do.
emotion vault.
That's actually what I really, really, really want to hear. Vault songs, man.
What do you
I
foresee?
agree. I also think that we're gonna get Reputation like probably next month. And then I also agree. I think debut is gonna be last. I think it's gonna be toward the latter half of the year. And I think that she likely has her next new album done already, and that will come in 2025. And I'm also thinking like she's been wearing so much green this year that it might be like a green album because she hasn't really done that yet.
I would love that.
Yeah. And she looks so good in green too.
Yes.
Like her dress that she wore to the Golden Globes, beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love that dress.
that was gorgeous.
Yeah. And then also like, so this is not professional, but there's been like engagement rumors for her and Travis. And while I do think that like it's early for that, I do really like them together. Like he seems so supportive of her and she seems so supportive of him. And he does like seem very much like a family kind of guy. And like she's always hanging out with his sister-in-law. And
Yeah.
I don't know, like I just like see that.
Talking about his mom.
And I know, I just hope that like this is her like her end game and like she's found her happy ever after. Obviously, like, you know, that anything could change and
That
whatever,
could be
but-
that could be its own episode, Kristin. Just to, like the amount
Bonus
of
episode.
the amount, like because
Yeah.
you could see her journey as somebody who. And here's the thing: there are so many clips of Taylor going like, people in the past interviewing her going, can anybody just ask you out? And she's like, I mean, they can, but
Mhm.
nobody's really made an effort publicly the way kind of Travis
Yeah.
did, and it was kind of impressive. And I'm like, all right, dude, that's
Listen,
I
that's
agree.
just like
yeah. And
I
Travis is
also
like a.
think
Go ahead.
he's what?
No, it got you first.
Oh, I was gonna say, I would also love to like get that album that is all happy love songs.
I'm curious what it would sound like if it were primarily happy love song.
Okay, my theory on that is this: Taylor was happy at one point. It's just she loves breakup songs more. Is my theory.
Yeah.
Well, that's maybe why she moved into storytelling. That's not always tied to
Exactly, because she couldn't write about anything heartbreaking, so she'll just make stuff up at the time. Because her commentary on Ed Sheeran's writing, however few, but sort of like it's out there on the internet, is that Ed is the one who is the like she who writes the purest, most romantic, like
That's
soaring
true,
love story.
which is so ironic.
So if you look at the most pure love story song type that's Taylor writes versus what Ed is able, that's not her wheelhouse. I feel.
Dude, this is also a whole podcast episode. Oh,
right.
Just talking about Taylor Swift and Ed Sheeran's friendship.
Not to say that she's incapable. It's just I don't know if she's not gonna slip in a couple of "You Broke My Heart" into a million pieces songs.
Yeah, true.
Oh
in her
yeah,
happy-
I'm
Look-
sure there will be some, but I'm thinking like majority. Like, 'cause I just feel like it would be interesting to see, like, because I feel like she starts out pretty hopeful and like going into every relationship as if like this could be the one, to then turning very cynical and like even in 1989 being like, I love to see how this one ends.
Yep.
To kind of going back to like renewing her belief in true love. Like I think that would be a fun arc.
That's so funny.
Oh my gosh.
It's just, I see there's so much that we can discuss about this. Like it actually truly the trajectory of her current body of work, right? It is like that.
It is 100%
It is exactly like that. It is literally like I believe in true love and all of these bad things happen, but I still believe in true love. And then nope, really bad things happen and now I've fallen apart.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, well, big F you to everyone else. This is what I'm going to do now. And then back to where it's like, okay, maybe I do believe in love again, but I'm more realistic about it.
And isn't that the quintessential human experience?
Actually.
Yeah.
I think that's why her songs are so relatable, to be honest with you. Even if they're very specific sometimes to her circumstances, the sentiment in them, I'm pretty sure most of us have lived some, version of it in our lives, right?
Agreed.
It's just like you listen to it and you're like, I know what that's like.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's not
And
exactly
sometimes
what
even like like sometimes even the breakup songs, while they're obviously like romantic relationships, I feel like a lot of them apply to like friendships and
Oh, agreed.
you know,
Agreed.
Now that we
family
don't talk is what I actually
relationships.
feel that way about.
Yeah. So
And
yeah, I feel like they're very relatable.
yeah, this is why we can't have nice things is the other one that I think of when I'm like friendship breakup.
Yeah.
It's so cathartic yelling that song when you're like when your friendship has fallen apart with someone, and I say this from experience, like you literally, if you sing that song and you belt it at the top, you're like, this is so cathartic. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
especially when you get to the part where it's like, here's to my real friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I see you, I get it. Ah, man, there's still so much. I feel like there's still so much we have to cover.
I don't think
I know.
we're gonna run out of time.
No,
more
not
than
today,
things
but
to-
like I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah.
Because like there's
Me
so
too.
much.
Speaking of, so we did run through our list of questions. So just to let anyone know who's interested, we are going to be doing our next live show on February 25th, and we're going to be deep diving into the debut era.
I'm so
boy,
excited.
here we go.
I'm really excited.
I'm really excited to find out Kristin's reactions to the album, actually.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, because this is
I
one
am
of the ones
too.
that you haven't listened to, really, right? Like you really haven't
Yeah.
listened to the other songs that are not, I guess, that weren't really played on the radio, or
Yep.
So I'm really like, I am so curious.
and I finally get
too.
to jumpstart like my, because I like to collect lyrics.
Mhm.
And I started, but then I stopped, and now I get to like beef up that little lyric library of
And she has so many good
and she has
ones.
so many good
Oh
ones.
my god.
She has
Yeah.
her turn of
Debut has a lot of good
Debut has a
lyrics.
lot of
Has
good
a
turns
lot
of
of good lyrics.
phrase, but
Oh, I
tied
believe.
together with style.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. No, Kristin's also gonna like our other favorite.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure, like,
so
if I were gonna guess, I'm pretty sure that one will also be in like at least your top 3.
Yeah.
I'd be a
believe
little
it.
shocked.
I'm like so excited. I'm like sitting down, listening to everything with no distraction. I'm gonna follow along with the lyrics. I'm gonna be taking
Yes.
notes. I'm like,
Watch the video.
I'm in. I'm gonna watch all of the videos. Like,
This is very essential, watching the videos.
yeah, for sure.
yeah,
It's gonna be so fun. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited too. Thank you guys so much for joining me in this year-long journey.
I'm just
Anytime.
happy to be along for the ride.
I feel like we're gonna have a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, this was already a lot of fun. I can't imagine what it'll be like going into each album, especially
Yeah.
like our personal favorites, all of us. Oh,
Oh my god.
Me
like
too.
I know Max is up on the inside to talk about Speak Now.
My brain is on,
He's already there. Like he's like, I'm
my
here.
brain is on overdrive. But
I wonder who will be the first one to cry during one of these.
I almost cried today just thinking about You Belong With Me. Are you kidding? I was
I
this
wonder
close.
if that will be the first show that has crying in it, or if it'll be Speak Now. Because Speak Now is also really big for the crying because of Long Live.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
I'm always this close to crying because of Taylor Swift, so
We'll just do a
today
tally.
was no exception. I was just holding everything back.
Yeah.
I like how this is the strained version.
Oh yeah, this is 100%.
Yeah, no, Speak Now will probably unleash it. We'll mentally prepare.
Mhm.
Bring the tissues. Anyway, it was really fun hanging out and talking about all things Taylor Swift. I'm curious if like anyone who does watch this, that like I would love to know which eras they like, because I'm always curious about that with other people.
Oh, I just saw, like, I have not been paying attention, but there's been a couple of comments on the side, and the funniest one is
Andrew's
I love Andrew.
asking if they broke up, what would be the name of her football themed album?
Let me think about that.
It'll have. See, that's the thing. It'll have to do with how they broke up and why.
True.
It's
So-
true, yeah. I don't
So
think I don't know enough football terms to come up with a good
The only thing I can think of
Fun.
is like incomplete pass, which is like
Complete pass.
that's what it is.
Oh, it's so.
Ah.
So not a touchdown.
Really, I also
Yeah.
do not know football, mind
I
you.
don't know anything about football. Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
So that like all I know is like touchdown, quarterback, wide receiver, passes,
Yeah.
field goal.
field.
That's about it.
You're-
Yeah, something like that, right? It's okay.
I don't think I I think
time
you pretty much covered everything I've heard of.
Yeah.
Hey, hold up. Andrew says, I like this weird conspiracy theory that I hate Taylor Swift. It is not a conspiracy theory. It's just a matter of like, I don't know if you know enough about Taylor Swift to have an opinion.
No. And it's not just that. It's like, would you subject yourself
Yeah,
to like an entire day of the three of us just sitting there talking about Taylor Swift?
Listen, I adore Taylor Swift,
Yeah.
but just the idea of watching the Eras tour again, I have to really think about that because
In
that
person,
is
you mean?
even
really?
at home. That's like 3 hours of my life that I'm like, do I really have nothing to do that day?
Oh,
Because
see, I'm
it's-
like, how can I find enough time to make this happen again?
No, exactly.
See,
That's
but,
exactly my point.
You know, I cannot wait until we can actually own it
like
because
Yeah,
I'm
me
like,
too.
so I could just watch it again
watch
and
it through
again.
because I
Yeah.
was like literally last night, like I was wondering, like, is it a thing? Like, can we buy it now? No, it's still on rent. And so I was thinking, like, I wouldn't subject me to suddenly like lose 3.5 hours of your time.
Poor Andrew.
And I don't want to just put it on as background white noise, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a
No.
machine. I want to just like every, so that's
So
a lot.
we're just gonna have to do that at some point
It's
because
a
I feel like
Yes.
I feel like at some point we're gonna have to get to that era
Yeah.
Yeah.
where we watch together because I feel like it'd be so fun after. I feel like that'll be like a
Agreed.
November
100%.
ish.
Andrew's
then
already
it's
seen it twice.
Not his first rodeo then. Perhaps I'll do it once more.
I will say, actually, outside of the Eras tour, you know, the tour that I've actually rewatched the most is the Reputation one.
Well, yeah, 'cause
I
it's
think I've seen
available.
it, I think
Yeah.
I've seen it like 10, 11 times
Because it's available.
just in the last year. Like, this is not even counting.
I'm so sad that I missed it because they took it off of Netflix.
Oh, it's so good, Kristin.
Right.
But I'm hoping
It's
that I
actually-
can find it online somewhere to watch when we get up to Reputation.
There's some dark corner of the internet.
You know
that
what
keeps
my
all of
theory?
these
Do you know what
videos.
my theory is? By the way, here's a Taylor Swift theory. Actually, this is more like a Taylor Swift manifestation. You know what I think? She's gonna sell the Eras tour in some pretty package, right? But you know what else she's gonna do? She's gonna put all the other stadium tours into a collector's box set, so you can have them all. I was like,
Insta
I
buy.
thought about this yesterday, and I was like, can you imagine what it would look like if it was like a box set, and then it had like the spines of each, and it was like one whole set.
Which is a great summary to hello bookworms and Taylor Swift fans
Here's
and
your
the
collection.
intersection of it. Here's a
Yeah.
box set of spines. You're familiar with that.
Right? Like the thing is,
Honestly,
of course,
if she charged $1,000 for that, I would buy it
I would buy it.
in a
first
second.
of all, it's every single
I
like
would 100%.
because how many of them have recorded? I want to say the
Fearless-
first
Fearless-
four have for sure.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Oh no, first five. Sorry.
First 5.
And then you technically have the long pond sessions.
long
if you
pond
want to
sessions
count
for-
that
yep.
for folklore, right?
Yep.
And then skip over because Midnights doesn't have any. So the interesting thing is just like, it's gonna be skipping eras, but I do feel like it's worth it for her to have a set because it's so many of them already. That's like 6, 7 with the Eras tour. So
Yep.
I'm like,
Yeah.
just give it to me. That's all I want.
Andrew just ran in the room and said $1,000.
Well,
Good thing
love
I
it.
am the one that runs the budgeting spreadsheet.
Just
I
spread it out.
mean, you
over
can
a couple of
save
months.
up.
Yeah, spread it
and-
out over a couple of months.
Plus, it's good. Plus, it's gonna be a collector's item, and it's not like so it's
Priceless.
Yeah, 100%. No,
You'll ROI it almost immediately because, like, let's be real. If we'd watch it.
more importantly, I mean, because how many people still have that thing where she stage dives, where she's got like the glittery
Right?
dress and the
Ah.
flippy,
What an
my
era.
goodness, yeah. Plus, it's like raw
Yeah.
footage that you cut
Yeah. See if
to.
anyone from Taylor Nation or Taylor Swift's team finds this and
Oh.
hears this and decides to do it. Please do.
We will
This is
first.
our
Well,
plea.
we are.
First of all, we're not even.
We're
the
not
only
even.
one.
We're not even going to be the first ones in line. The minute anybody gets wind of this, 16
Yeah.
bajillion people, globally, mind you.
I mean,
are
can you
gonna want
imagine if
some of this.
if they had one from her debut, like little, like
Dude,
small
her
tour
tiny arena
with just the
days,
guitar and
ay,
her? Oh my god.
little
Oh my
Taylor
God.
Swift, how gorgeous! Ugh, what a
Yeah, okay,
wonderful.
see, I
I'm
made
hoping
myself
that we're gonna get I'm hoping that we're gonna get like a little Valentine's Day merch drop soon.
I would
Oh,
hope, I would
yeah,
hope.
that would be fun too.
I would hope.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I think
reputation.
she could because that's what around when her Eras tour starts up again in Japan,
Yeah.
which my other sister is going to.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yes, she gets to watch for a third time, not counting
Yeah.
the movie version.
Rachel?
Yeah.
Yeah. So good
That's
for
very
her.
lucky.
Yeah,
It is.
she missed Speak Now, which is her favorite one.
She's still upset about that.
Yeah, she was supposed to go.
She was supposed to have his ticket.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is the backstory.
Yeah.
In case anyone is still sticking around and wants to hear the backstory of how Macky got to watch a Speak Now tour in Manila.
Wow.
Yeah. So she should have gone.
Yeah.
But she had prom, and
Mhm.
who should have gone in her place was our other
Was
sister
Mel,
Mel.
right?
And but mom asked her to like go with her
To like help
Yeah,
Rachel,
she's like,
facilitate, be there.
leaving one ticket free for one Swiftie in Manila, and I'm like, I could chaperone.
And remember, at the time, they were all pretty young.
Like 13.
They were 13, 14. Yeah. And so,
Wow.
of course, they can't just do their own to this concert because
can
our parents
keep
would be
them
like, no.
I can keep the children safe.
Meanwhile, I was like, you know who could go who's in Manila? I was like, maybe you should ask Macky because he is a Taylor Swift fan.
I am. And I did, and it was great. And it's the worst thing. Like Rachel's prom dress was purple, like Speak Now purple. That's how committed she was to it. It's just she couldn't get out of it anymore. And I'm just like, you two have my eternal gratitude.
And it was
Wow.
funny because
Yes.
I would have gone if I were there, but I was already here.
No,
I couldn't watch the Speak Now tour while I was here. And the red one I also missed because who didn't have enough money to watch it at the time? Me. I was very upset about it, but then I was like, you know what? Macky could probably do it.
I've
That's
brought honor
really
to
nice of you.
I know. So
It's
good.
just very
lucky.
funny. We all think it's very funny when we reflect on this like years later. We're just like, huh, what an era. And at least he got to see one of his
Oh
favorites.
yeah, totally. Are you kidding? No, that was the best ever. So
Yeah, I'm not like that's why I'm not as upset because it's not. Those are not like to my top two albums, right? Speak Now or Red. So I'm like, fine. Fearless, like there was no way I was going to see that tour, so fine. So
Mhm.
in theory, the only one I'm really upset about is Loverfest, which understandably, obviously,
Yeah.
got canceled for good reason. But like, that's the one where I'm like, I would have loved it because I bet you the aesthetic for it would have been so good.
Definitely.
It would have been so good. Anyway,
we're done.
done for
All right.
now.
So I think that wraps everything up, and we will see everyone next month for debut. Do you want to say, I have Alexa's book channel linked down below, but Macky, do you want to say where people can find you on Twitch? And I can add that in.
Not yet, but
Not
yes.
yet, okay.
But it's gonna be Macky.
You have to commit now, dude.
It's
We
gonna be-
mentioned it like 4 times in this video.
Like my Twitch is like a howling, desolate wasteland of nothingness
At this point.
at this point in time. But it's still gonna be.
Or
Macky
it's a
Santiago.
blank page ready for you to start going.
That is so
Watch it.
That is so much more encouraging. It's I don't even have like a real profile picture or like a back. But anyway, but yeah, it's still Macky Santiago.
You
on
know
Twitch,
what I think?
which is effectively I will be streaming my stuff on Spotify anyway. So that's
that's true. That's
so yeah. So
Oh,
I'm on
Spotify,
Spotify.
yeah.
So just search my name. And,
You know what I think?
oh boy.
This way he
What?
has to commit to it.
Oh no.
I think he should stream the debut songs that he wants to cover on Twitch before we do the debut.
I think that's a good idea.
Not a lot of pressure at all. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's like one song
can
or two songs.
I actually have 3.
Well,
but
but you see what I mean? I think you could do it. Don't you think you could do it, Kristin?
Definitely.
You get my Twitch up and running in the next 2 days and start streaming.
Remember, we have all the way until like almost the end of February.
Agreed.
So
Yeah.
you literally have almost 4 weeks.
All right. Yeah.
So I think you should do it. And then every month after should be the same thing.
No, that's true because I do have a lot of Taylor Swift songs that I cover. So
Mhm.
I'm just trying to help you.
that's amazing. The help and pressure of all of that. Yeah, let's make it happen. Yeah, it's gonna be cool. Thank you.
You can do it.
Twitch, Santiago.
We believe
and
in
so
you.
is-
Yes.
And so is my Spotify. That's its own thing.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anyway,
That will all
thank
be-
you for joining us. We will see you next month.
Thanks, Kristin.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.